Just remember in the winter beneath the bitter snow
Was that it?
lies a seed.
Are you gonna? I don't.
Do you not know that song?
No.
Okay, well, that's sad. That's great. Hey, good to be back.
Sure. I wasn't sure how much of it you were gonna sing. So
Well,
I was
I'm
sitting
not
here
just
going,
gonna continue.
Does he want me to join in?
This is where you jump in with harmony.
So this is
Frostpunk.
This is the final lost video. We lost because this was weeks upon weeks ago now. There was one fateful recording session where everything went to pot. Where we lost all of the audio that was for 2 of the Batman videos and this and Minecraft. And we overdubbed the 2 Batman videos because we had to. And last week we recorded Minecraft. And this week we're doing this. So we're finally caught up to our old selves. And we're playing a lovely game that we had so much more commentary on last time because it was fresh in our minds. But I got this from Epic Games for free again.
Hopefully I am going to have some degree of freshness because I'm actually
You are
on
playing
it this
today
time.
because the first time you did it, I played it. And, well, we'll get into that. But this comes to us from old friends, I learned when we first played this and went through the... I don't know what you call them, the little title cards that come up. You should probably pause the time, by the way, because the game's running. It's right up there. Work time. Go to the pause thing, the actual pause icon.
Okay.
Right there. Because
why is this?
Well, just because we're gonna talk while our people freeze to death. Last time we hadn't started the game when we started talking. Anyways, this comes from 11-Bit Studios, who, if you don't know the name. They brought us our favorite game, This War of Mine.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, this was those people. And you'll see the thematic resemblance when we play this, because basically this is that amplified to a city.
We're pretty sure Katja's out there somewhere laying in the snow.
And we're pretty sure no one else is going to kill themselves. Although, since you're playing...
Maybe us.
Since you're playing fresh, I can't guarantee you how much success you're going to have.
Wow.
This is a somewhat difficult game. I remember the first video we did of this, we lost a bunch of people in the first day and had to start over.
I made the comment last time, if I recall.
You could probably start the time.
It is true that of all of the games that are like this particular gameplay style, I don't normally enjoy these.
It's almost a city builder game.
It's almost like a world builder-ish.
But with the crucial difference that it's survival based. It's not just, build a city, make it fun. It's like, no, actually building cities is really hard and most of the people are unhappy. So it's more of a...
Yeah. It's got some moral change as far as...
It does have a bit of moral questioning because you are... The plot that we skipped is... As you can see, world's gone to Ice Age, sort of the things are freezing over. We've had to flee our cities, and we've now, when we've searched out this weird, this is called the generator, which for some reason, there you go.
Right here.
This sort of miniature Barad-dûr we've got going on here. This is apparently some old generator that was built by... I don't know if that's actually established as to why these exist, because they seem to have been purpose-built for this application, where they're just sources of heat and electricity in the case of world freezing. So, I don't know, someone was very ahead of their time. But we are the leader of this small band of refugees, and we're trying to build a functioning city, and there's, of course, our inevitable moral conundrums of how you would respond to various, shall we call them, social questions.
Yeah. And I think it puts you in a little bit more of an active role. I think I may have made that comment last time, but the idea of not only are you able to, for instance, click on random individuals, like Rufus here.
Rufus Brownie.
But not only that, you also have the ability to make those kinds of moral decisions, which pulls you into the story a little bit more and causes you to be more up close. Whereas a lot of the world builders, it's like
Well,
Yeah, you're the leader of the park.
You
and
will
it's-
see your actions have their consequences because certain, like, there's going to be, not in a spoilery way, but like you might have to make certain decisions about how you handle the sick. And you might see people die because of the decisions you make where you go, oh, we had to prioritize this and therefore these people suffered for it.
Yes, but I would say that, like, for instance, Oregon Trail had that element, but you still felt very disconnected from the story, in my
Well,
opinion.
Oregon Trail was about one cart loads of people. Oh, something has happened. A social question arises. The people are, oh, we probably shouldn't have, wait, I said we should start the time, and then all of our miniature people are staring up into the heavens. And they see their managing spirits up above them, quibbling over nonsense. They're unhappy that they have no houses. Now, here's the thing. Here's one thing I think the moral questions start out interesting and complex, and I do think, since I've actually beaten this game in the intervening time, they start to diverge into basically
really
like
small squabbles that are
not
actually
small,
stupid,
but it's a little like they start out genuinely tough, and then sometimes as you develop, as you pick certain
Okay, so
law
can I start
routes,
building right now, or
yeah,
no?
you actually need to start doing that. More than
but
building, you need to
where-
start getting stuff.
Well, I've already got people on coal, but the problem is
How many? You've only got 5 on coal. You're gonna
no,
want more
I've
than
got
that.
no, I've
There's-
got everybody on coal.
I
There's
see
5
5.
there. There's
Okay, well get more people. We need more than coal. Get some wood and some metal. Wood crates. So first we have to scavenge for our
I
materials.
clearly can't.
Oh, do you have? Yeah, you have more than. How many people?
I've got coal people over here doing coal. People
Okay,
up here
how many?
doing coal.
You
people
have
up here
80
doing coal.
people in this town, or they can't all be harvesting coal.
Well, I thought let's start with that.
No, okay, well hang on. Let's see what they want.
Okay.
The wisdom of the crowd, captain, facing sometimes you don't get the chance to intervene.
the
Sometimes
best
you just have
one.
to be like, yeah, whatever. Fix the problem. Yeah, sure. That guy was just offering encouragement. Now, I've already forgotten my
Okay,
controls.
wow,
Oh,
they're
click
just
on.
Full of questions.
Yeah, the heating's turned off. That's
How
the
do
first.
we-
You got to get coal. So here, go.
Well, that's why I.
Go down to the bottom, to the little scales in the little bottom of the screen. Or no, it's economy. There you go. We're gathering 600 coal a day. So did you really seriously put every single available person on coal?
Well, yes, for now.
Well, we're going to need to split that up a little bit.
Well, of course. I just was starting with that. So
So take some people off of the coal and get them, because we're going to need
okay.
wood.
So
We're going
how
to
do
need,
I? So do I go back
it's
to this?
this.
And
So
then
this is,
say,
yeah, you say, I'd say you've got 3 coal piles with full staff. I'd say take 1 coal pile completely out.
So let's go 4 there.
No, leave them. Don't play this game.
Why?
Have a station fully manned before you open another one. Don't be going, I got 2 people at every single one of them.
Well, no, I'm not saying 2, but sure.
4, okay, I'm saying that
Okay, so you
it
think
ends up
leave
being
this
less
one
efficient.
fully- How so?
Because if you have a small group of people spread out over everywhere rather than... Because the raw numbers of coal you get per person stays the same, but when you have multiple people at a spot, you get better efficiency because it's not spreading them so thin. You could have 1 person at 15 different coal piles or 15 people at one. It's the whole 2 horses can pull more than double
yeah,
what one
that's a
does.
good argument.
So we need wood and iron.
So I believe, and I just sent people out for that.
I wouldn't. Okay,
I
well, we need
believe-
steel too.
Interestingly, well, yeah, I just sent people out for steel
No,
too.
that was wood.
No, this
didn't
is
see.
wood.
That's
this
wood.
is steel.
I didn't see you put people there.
I did just now.
Okay, good. I didn't. So check the economy again. That you'll get very familiar with this economy screen when the game gets going. Anyways, we probably should have paused for all of this because the only reason we're having to do this now is because people are going to be angry if we don't have the thing on in the first day.
So, no.
Food rations, yeah, you're going to have to develop those later because we don't even have the supplies to hunt yet.
Interestingly, I came across this, and this is a new kind of injection, I suppose, into the topic. In that I came across this recently. In between when we last.
Generator.
How do I do that?
Click on it. A little thing will come up, and it'll say and turn on.
Where?
Start level 1.
Where's that?
Right there. So the reason we're having you play this because the problem is I got very absorbed in it when we played it the first time, and I since played through all the way to the end. I've actually beaten it. So that's why we're letting you go, because you actually were quite fascinated by it.
Well, yes.
And you didn't get the chance, so this is your go.
What I find interesting in this one is, again, it's far more, not just the interaction, but it's sensible in that these are the types of questions you are going to have people that actually have the wherewithal to ask critical and useful questions, and other people that are like, yeah, I'm not really wanting to work today. And it's like, well, okay, I don't care. Work. There's a part of it where it's like the survival of the fittest concept, and I think we've actually made this comment before, kind of comes back into play when you're in that kind of scenario where it's like, I'm sorry, if you don't pull your weight...
Well, I think this game handles that well enough that I suppose I won't spoil. It's not actually a spoiler because we're going to learn about it soon. But, once you get proper... Because right now we're just scavenging. Once you get a proper, you can have a foresting mill where you're actually cutting down trees and getting wood or mining for coal. You can call... You have the authority to call, 24-hour shifts for a limited time.
Yeah.
If you're we're in a major emergency, we're going to run out of stuff, so we have to work this place for the next 24 hours. Well, we've got the first sick, Michael Knighton. At first I thought Michael Crichton, and I don't know why.
First of all, it's Cretan. If you're going to threaten him, do it properly.
He's got no home, and I got no home. Right now he's resting, Michael. And he's sick. Oh no, his biggest concern is being sick. Well, too bad he just got sick. Oh boy. We also got a bunch of homeless people. We need to build some houses.
Okay, so how do I go about starting that?
Secure food, provide shelter. Those are your tasks at the bottom left-hand corner.
Build the cookhouses. Okay, so...
So shelters... Well, food's actually probably more important than shelter, although...
How do I do that?
So the building, little hammer. Go down to the building of the little hammer on the bottom menu.
Okay.
That is your building screen. And we can build tents, and if you go to the food tab, we can build... hunting huts. So hunting huts now, funnily enough,
is hunting huts better than cookhouse?
They're different. Hunting hut gathers raw food. Cookhouse turns it into rations. Okay. So on a conceptual level, it actually we're going to go back to the game A Dark Room, because remember when we played Kingdom New Lands? Mm-hmm. This is like a depressing 3D version of that, where it's like, okay, first, because there's a lot of management, we're going, okay, if I have this many people gathering food, then that burns this many resources, but it brings in these many resources, and if I have the people turning the food into rations, then that means it's a little bit number heavy at times. But it reminded me a lot of A Dark Room again when I played it, where I'm going, maybe it's a personality thing, but I got really into A Dark Room, where I was like, okay, if I
in here.
Well, yeah, because you're just let me have my thing. You're sitting there going, okay, every time you add a person to a particular job, you get that job produces more resources, but also costs more.
Right.
So you're going, okay, we need more food, which means I need to add another person to the food place. But because that means we're going to have to get more raw food, which means I need more hunters, but they're going to need more fuel, so I'm going to have to get more coal.
Right, it all links together. Well, but that's a proper economy.
Exactly. That's why, if I'm really honest, I keep bringing it up because I think that did it better than anything else. I think it does it better than this, and I think it does it better than Kingdom New Lands did. Because that game was so much simpler, it was text only. There was no visuals in that game.
Yeah.
So it was literally, you're just looking at
close. I feel like if you were to compare Kingdom New Lands, for instance, to this,
Kingdom
I would
New
say
Lands,
this is probably below A Dark Room, but...
It has much more nuance where you're going, this has an economy menu.
Okay, so...
There was no economy menu in Kingdom New Lands. I do hunters first.
Yeah.
Now here's what you want to do.
Because this is
leave the central ring for houses. This is a lesson I learned from a previous playthrough, so please let me spare you some trouble. You have to build it on the road, so it has to be connected to a green line. But I would build the hunter's hut. Well, you made it all cattywampus. Okay. It's sticking off in a corner. Grids, man.
You said it had to be green when I moved it over in a sensible spot. It didn't.
You're saying you could have moved it so that it was behind those shacks. Whatever. The difficulty thing about this game is that as the days go on, the temperatures will change. And that was one thing that really threw me for a loop. You got more sick. They're going to stay sick until you can give them houses, because the problem is everyone's sleeping out in the cold right now. So how many resources do we have? The problem is on my TV,
So
the
bottom
TV,
line is-
we're casting to the TV for me to see because he's got the computer. And it's cutting off the top part of the screen, so I can't
Number
actually
of sick
see.
is rising, and we don't have enough materials
Yes.
to build a medical post.
Oh,
Perhaps a
here, Book of Laws.
burst of effort could help us gather necessary.
So this is where the moral questions start coming in as we start writing our own laws for the city. So do you want to allow yourself to call the emergency shift? This is essentially giving yourself as the pseudo-political leader the ability to force people to work. Now, you could theoretically not do this, and you probably could even...
Child labor.
That happens later. We'll get into the more nuanced
Well,
ones.
it's allowing me to adjust it now.
Well, don't. No, you actually can't. You could. You can only unlock out laws every couple hours, or I think every couple days, because you can't just do them all the time. But this is the one I think, given the survival scenario,
Oh yeah, it makes total.
it makes
sense.
perfect sense. And there's obviously the trade-offs where you can see like people's will get people. So
I feel like you also have to know
so
what
then
type
you'll
of
see.
leader
Notice
you
the
are. If you're just gonna
discontent.
call it,
The discontent rose slightly because everyone's like, we don't like that idea.
well, but I'm not
So
even calling it yet.
See, there you go. That guy's going to complain. But then generally someone else will be like, well, we've got to band together.
We do that for 40 years and then we die.
Well, okay,
Sounds
never
like
mind.
a pretty good line to me.
Wait. Nellie Knighton. Isn't that Michael's wife?
Yes.
The Knightons are just cretins. They're just a bunch of naysayers. Nervous Nellie and whatever Michael was. It's almost the
Okay.
next day. We spent the whole night doing nothing. Do we have... I can't see the resources. Do we have the money to build tents? Or not the money, the supplies. It would be in people. How many can we build? In violent location. Because I would say build them all around the center.
Like into the center?
Yeah, like in
or-
that actual heat zone. The little that's the spot that the generator is currently heating. And the reason I learned that you're going to want to put at least a few houses, or I would even say most of your houses in there.
Can I do... Is that... How
Yeah,
many of that?
Just one. That houses, I think, 10 people.
Okay,
They
so
say
can I build
because
more?
I guess
Can
they're big. Well, I don't know. I can't see your resources. Oh boy.
Okay, so...
So we need to amp up the resources. Is anyone idle right now? Because we got to put an end to that. So here's coal piles. We have only 4 people available who are not working. Coal's
Really?
not as So I would say
No,
coal's
5.
not. No. 0 available. You just put them to work.
Yeah, but I'm saying...
So take all
if I
these
put
people off.
4...
Well, don't leave one. Just leave
No,
5.
that's what I'm saying. So 5 people are the ones that are available.
Well, go to the economy tab. This is why this is necessary. So we do have a net positive, so you could take a few people off coal. Because we're producing more. That's not enough. I wouldn't do that, actually. Because having a surplus is good. Go to the tree icon. We're producing 60 a day of wood. Go to the metal. We got one full... Okay, we have one full crew of wood and one full crew of metal.
No, we don't have a full crew of wood.
Well, no, that's percentage. It says 15 out of 15, so that means probably someone's sick, so the efficiency goes down. This is definitely a number crunchy game if you really wanted to get into it. So 100% efficiency means everyone's at work. If you start getting below that, that means generally some people are sick.
Well, what can I do to...
You have to... Well, once everyone's housed, they won't be sick so much.
Well, yes, so I have to obviously put priority on that.
You may... Well, I mean, the reason the game gave us the ability to unlock the emergency shift is that we might need to start calling... Oh, hang on. What's red? Why is that one building red?
Which one?
The building. Oh, we didn't put any people in the hunter's hut. We have 5 available. Put all of them in there. Because now it's okay. So boom, now we're getting food. Not much, but you don't need as much to start with. What was I was trying to... My advice, put as many houses in the central ring as you can, because when the temperatures drop and you don't have the coal to turn the generator higher, because once you can turn the generator higher to heat more area, but it'll cost more stuff.
Okay, well, I don't...
So you're going to want... The middle ring by the generator will always be powered. So you're going to want essential things there. So really houses and medical centers. Because those are the things that if the temperatures dip and you can't power a greater area, you're going to want at least those powered. Because like if the medical center shuts down because of excessive freezing, the game's pretty much over. We can't make any laws right now. 14 hours to sign a new law. Anyways, I don't know if we did as good a job synopsizing it as last time, but it's I enjoy this kind of thing. Everyone who is at all interested in gameplay design from not just a player level, but like how game like styling works, should play A Dark Room. It's actually quite fun. I mean, if you might take one look at it and be like, this looks awful, and that's fair. It's probably not for everyone. But if you're at all like me, give it a try, because I got really absorbed into it. I got to a point where I had like a city in the woods of like 1,000 people. Anyways, that's my... there you go. Every video has to have us not apostatize. Proselytize.
Apostatize. Well, that too, maybe.
Well, I suppose we might get to that. Anyways. Yes, now that I've proselytized, we can move forward.
No, so what I was saying was the additional kind of information is I literally was on a forum the other day that was talking about survivalist kind of mentality, and somebody was making the critique that all these people stock up on guns, and why is it that so many of the preppers are just more about firearms than they are about anything else as far as knowing how to clean water and
they play too much Fallout.
Yeah. Well, and the reality is, any prepper I've ever met, that's not an actual accurate statement of...
Now, you got to keep the game going. These people will die if you neglect them.
I'm waiting to build other tents.
Well, you got to maximize your time. You can't just sit here going, build tents faster.
Well, I don't... Again, I say, what do I do outside of looking at these bits and saying, you're all doing, hey, trees are back up to 100.
Oh, hey, I mean, that guy probably got better. The
That's
problem
what
is...
I'm saying. What else can I do?
I think things build faster when there's idle people, because if there's idle people who don't have jobs and you select a building, they'll automatically go to do that.
Oh, okay. Well,
but
should
I? You could probably take a couple people off coal until it becomes a net zero where we're gaining as much as we're burning. I mean, I wouldn't do this for a long time. It's probably less than 5. It might only be like 3. So check the economy tab again.
But
oh, okay. So now we're burning as much coal in a day as we gain in a day.
Well, for right now, let's do that.
So that's not obviously a permanent solution. Once the houses have been built and stuff, we'll go back.
The thought was, we have to make sure that people know horticulture and know,
Well, I agree.
And I said I agree with that, but the bottom line is, I've never met a prepper that would say they haven't learned those skills or aren't pursuing at least the learning of those skills.
I think
it's a little bit of a jump to just say.
I think it's people watching things like Doomsday Preppers on TLC. Because that's not what you call. They call it reality television, but it's not.
Well, and I think it's worth noting that
not every person has, what was it, the 60-pound scrotum? Or
what? What are you on about?
There was some horrible show about the guy who had the 60-pound.
Okay, what does that have to do with prepping?
My point is
prepping for a 60-pounder.
My point is that's not most people, and yet they portray it like, oh, here's reality television. It's like, no, that's not reality. That's one person.
Yeah, that's true. And so I think with preppers, it's like, okay, not every prepper, and in fact I would argue most preppers are not those that just go, firearms is the only thing. And
most preppers wouldn't appear on Doomsday Preppers. They'd be too boring.
And the reality is, the truth is, you are going to need firearms to some degree.
Did you
not just for hunting?
Did you actually build that house, or is it okay? Good. So
not just for hunting, but the idea that you are going to have to defend what you learn to cultivate. So it's like
true.
I mean, that's not necessarily an element in this game per se, but this is very much a...
This is not a wasteland game. This is very much a survival city building.
But I also think this is possibly more indicative of what you would see in probably...
I think this is a little more accurate.
Kind of religious organizations would
that
probably
comes into it. That's
pop
where
up
I'll
and
admit
things like that.
That's kind of where the moral... There comes a point where right now we have the Book of Laws, eventually, there's a major plot point that happens that I won't spoil, where it's no longer just policies for keeping alive. It's like, how do we motivate us as a society to go forward?
Yeah.
And I'll spoil it because it's not really a spoiler. It's the age-old, how do you keep order amongst disunited people? It's either through religion or just sheer dictatorial tyranny. And they present that choice. Now, they do it better where the religious option can become somewhat tyrannical if you let it. And
Which
the
is true of the Catholic Church,
and the
spoiler alert.
And the dictatorial option doesn't have to be sheer awfulness.
Although it digresses to that most of the time,
sure,
if not
in
all
actual
the time.
history. But my point is, like, it's not just, the religion is the good option and the dictatorial is the bad. It's like, there's nuance still within each, but I don't know. It also, really, the truth is, no option is ever great. Because, like, even the religious option, which is what I went with last time, because when it presented me the choice of being like, how do we keep these people unified? Give them the boot. It was almost like that.
Unify them under one enemy.
Like it was
myself.
Like it was literally the screen popped up going, how do we create order? And one was like, religion. The other said, I think it was like order, and there was a picture of people with like walking single file while someone's like standing over them. I'm like, this imagery is a little too heavy-handed. It might as well have just been give them the boot. Our fist is right up here.
So that you can work to gain, what is it? So you can work to mine more coal for the fuel. Kyle Hitler?
Kyle?
We
should, hang on, we should preface that's a quote from something. We do not espouse these beliefs.
Not at all.
And fun.
Actually, it's
don't explain it. If you know what that is, that's another gold star for you. And if you don't, I wouldn't recommend you to Google it based on all that we said, because you'll get put on a list.
You probably will end up finding things that you're not looking for as well.
But if you can find, we'll just. Should we do
The bottom line is, we love the Jews.
Should we do a treasure hunt? Can we give them a hint that will lead them towards it without spoiling what it actually is? That might have been too obvious, but sure. That'll probably get you there. Wow. Our people are dying. Hey, we fulfilled the promise. Somehow.
Everyone feels relieved.
Because we promised. That's the other thing that happens.
If you fulfill your word.
Now that's the one that I do feel is slightly less nuanced. Is a lot of times, like, there'll be an emergency and someone will pop up and go, we need to do this. And you can either say that you'll address the problem, promise that you'll eradicate the problem, or say you'll do nothing, are often the three choices.
So, should I add more houses, or...
If you have the resources, yes, because we have 30 homeless right now.
Oh, okay, they said that they... Oh, I guess because I said some, okay.
Yeah, well, see, that's my point, is that you should never choose the other two options.
Well, of course not, because you're over-promising and under-delivering.
It's either saying, I won't address this at all, which makes people unhappy.
That's a life skill, too.
You can't get closer to the mic and then start being quiet. It cancels the effect. But yeah, you should only... If you can't be like, we've got people who are sick. I'll eradicate all the sick. Or, we've got people who are sick.
And by that I mean, all the sick will be eradicated.
No, I was going to get there. Stop. You ruined my point. My point was, you can either be like, everyone will be healed in 2 days, or if they're gonna die, then they'd better do it.
And decrease the sickness population.
Because, like, the only sensible option when that comes up is, I'll try to do what I can.
So when you get into the kind of religious side of things, what is it? It's like, we're going to pray against the spirit of infirmity. I mean, what?
No, well, because at first it's like, you could build a church that'll be sort of a community center. It's like, this makes sense. But towards the end...
historically what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but towards the end, there was the option of like, we could have a special branch of the church that we call out for, like, public speaking events. And maybe... just in case, I don't know, hypothetically, riots break out, we could call them in to break up the riots. And it starts to turn slightly, it's just...
crusade-y?
A little, where it's like, okay, this is like the police, but just the religious police.
I, again, say... okay, so that brings me to...
Are you going to bring up equilibrium
yes.
again? What is
Did
this,
I
the
bring up
fourth time?
Equilibrium last time we played this?
I don't know if it was this, but we brought it up plenty of times
Well,
just in
because
general.
it's great, and it does demonstrate that point.
Well, yeah,
very
but that's
well.
why I think there's still nuance where you're going, yes, choosing the religious option isn't inherently the better option because you can still misuse it. I'll admit, I only used that special church thing because the plot, they force a confrontation
okay.
around
All
the
right.
midpoint
Well,
of the
that's
game.
problem.
What is? What?
I
missed
guess
it.
we've exhausted that resource? Or
Oh,
what?
yes, but there's more. There's more than one coal supply. But they will run out eventually. So
Okay, so there's people still here,
So
but
hang on, go towards
the efficiency is down on all of them.
No.
Yeah.
That means they're not working right now. It's probably off hours. So what actually did we
calling
lose?
for an all day
Yeah, they're on
machine.
free time. It says free time by the time clock. That means
Oh,
everyone's
gotcha.
shift is done because you can tell it's getting dark. What was it that went away? Was it wood or steel or?
Well, everything was
No.
efficiency's down.
I'm not talking about efficiency. You said something went away. Something
No,
was
I'm-
depleted.
No, I wasn't saying anything was depleted
Oh.
specifically.
Are you sure?
Although the wood storage is only got
Because that will
8.
happen. Wood storage will get depleted. Like these
Well, yeah,
the
because I
little
just built houses.
Yeah, oh no, I'm not talking about the storage. I'm talking about the little shacks that you're using to gather wood from, like these piles of wood
Oh yeah,
everyone's
will
going
eventually
to.
go away. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to make sure they will eventually all go away. That's why you have to start building stuff that's more permanent, like sawmills and things.
Anyway, I'm just saying it's a way underrated movie, and I've said this before, but it does demonstrate that particular issue well, which is that, as you said, organized religion can also get dictatorial if you allow it.
Well, and it's the whole argument of what is a king but a benevolent dictator.
Well,
Where you're going, there were kings in history who, yes, they were essentially dictators. What they said went.
yeah.
No one questions certain kings, but that if the king is good, then it ends up being good for everyone. So a dictator can be merciful,
You're getting into Anakin Skywalker territory here.
no, don't reduce A. A, he wasn't wholly wrong, and B, let me finish. Now I got to come back and defend that statement. You're just adding to my topics. I was going to say a dictator could be merciful, because then that's what a king is, and a church organization or any religious organization can become oppressive. That's what Scientology is.
Right, exactly. Oh,
So you're
100%.
going, that's why it makes sense. Do I
Yes.
really have to explain the Anakin thing?
No,
now?
you don't. I'm
If
joking.
you've seen the prequels, you know that despite poor writing, it's not the worst point.
Yes. Well, I mean, and that's the whole arc of Anakin that we've argued is great, that a lot of people say is
We
contrived,
can introduce more laws.
but,
Do we have the stuff to build? We
why
only
would
need 2
though?
more
I
tents.
mean, if we put children to work.
Well, now, here's the thing that's valuable. If you click on that, it actually says, it's not like, oh, stick them in the mines. It actually says safe,
like, obviously within,
safe jobs. So you're going, they can help out in, like, the food preparation or
It wouldn't be terrible, but is that immediately going to cause people to go, who is this guy?
Well, but see, that's one of those things you have to weigh up where you go, because the only other option is you literally will have to build like basically a daycare where you're going, because all the parents have to work. No parents are staying home. So
there aren't
the kids
enough
have to.
hands to do the
Yeah.
work. We'll have to allow children to be employed for safe jobs like cookhouses or hothouses.
Which basically means they're not going to be stuffed up chimneys like they were in the Victorian
Children
era.
workers will be injured in accidents. We'll see that, but
Yeah, but that will also happen to everyone. So if you make workplaces safer for everyone, it's safer for them. I'll say I didn't do that the first time through because naturally I was kind of like, that sounds sketch. But I'm not going to lie, the game was a lot harder because I had less hands to do work. You just got to acknowledge you're going in a survival situation. Because otherwise, literally, you have to build a daycare and you have to then hire people.
Norbury actually agrees with me.
Yeah, surely we could find a... Yeah, see? Here's my point. Because here's the thing. Think about it. 200 years ago, when children lived on farms, they were being put to work.
100%.
But they were doing things like, gather the eggs,
And you were better off.
brush the horses. Things they could handle and were safe. And it taught them responsibility.
Yeah, they were better off for
And
it.
now we're getting
Well,
put
you
on
have-
more lists.
You have
They want to put kids back to work.
no, but you had men that were men at like 14 that were taking
yeah.
wives. Now I'm not suggesting that.
Okay, now we're
really
going to be
getting put on
banned.
this. No, listen though. I'm not saying. I'm just
Are you
saying.
going to hear me out?
Are you gonna hear me out? Steve here is gonna run the. Are you gonna hear me out? No. no, my point is, even 18
Can
now
we build some
is
more?
some
Get
sort
some
of
houses
weird,
happening.
Is some sort of weird
Non-age.
Yeah, I mean, it's become now
Ooh,
where
we
even
need
that
wood.
is not.
Are you sure the wood pile's not depleted?
Well, that's what I was asking.
Well, check on the wood pile. The wood pile's still there, and people are still gathering from it. I think we might need to call an emergency shift. I think because wood, we need to house these people because they will start dying.
Okay. Well,
You'll notice if you look on the day
how do I do
timer,
that?
there's a blue thermometer coming up, which means a drop in temperature. And if those people are outside when that happens, they will be dead overnight. That's what happened the first time we played. It was like one night, 10 people died, and
where do I do that?
it's in your. You have to click on a place.
Oh.
It's not in the laws. You actually so. I would say at a wood pile, which is the resource we seem to be the shortest on. You can call an emergency. That's that. Oh, well, okay. So people are going to grumble. You'll notice the discontent rose a lot, but it's not as much as you'd think. Again, it comes to the nuance where it's like, it's not, oh, we did it once and everyone riots. Because people are kind of like, you're probably going to hear some, you're going to get some tweets coming in here going, oh, I can't believe this.
So anyway,
Talking about child labor. Stick the kids up the chimneys. It's good for them.
No, but
develops the immune system.
But there is a truth to not only the responsibility, but also the sense of not manhood, but adulthood, I suppose, where you say,
it wasn't just the men.
It's like, hey, you are now. You're your own person. You are a self-made person. You can do this. You can take this on. And I think as we've gotten further away from that as our society has allowed us to be comfortable into our later years. I mean, you had people literally 30 years old.
Well, it's the truth of the fact that the word teenager is very recent. Because back then it was like you're either a child or you're an adult. There's no middle ground.
Correct. Well, and now that's being stretched to young adult being somehow a non-adult. And I'm like, well, that's sad.
We're gonna bring back an old topic, and I think that's due to the college system.
That's an interesting.
We talked about that, where you're going. You can't. You don't
strictly to blame, though. I mean,
maybe not strictly, but I do think there's a heavy influence because you're going. It used to be, because basically you got to think back when 80% of all people were farmers. You're going, okay. Well, you had obviously the mom and the dad. They were working the farm. They were doing the hard and dangerous jobs. You had the actual infants, where you're going. These things can't walk or lift their heads, so we're not going to put them to work. But the 3-year-old could help mom fold laundry. You could help to do certain things. Once they get to be not toddlers, like what, I don't know what comes after toddlers. Is there a name for that stage? When they're like 5 and 6 and they can actually handle stuff, you can have them. It's like, oh, you're gonna go get water, you're gonna pick up the eggs, you're gonna brush the horses.
Jordan Peterson would argue that that's actually a way of bringing up, kids, especially as a father.
Because he talks a lot about responsibility. Responsibility is the single most personally developing influences.
Well, maturity is taking responsibility.
Yes, exactly. So now we have 2 more houses to go, right? 2 more houses.
If I do the full ring, is that house
everybody? I think that'll fill, and I would. This is hard because we're going to need a medical center soon, and the medical center is the only other thing I think really should be in the middle. Because once
going to play,
that's probably a child. Click on it. Alan Hancock. I hope it's a child. If it shows up, it's not a child. He's going to get the boot.
Wow. We're going to skip right past religion and just give it to him.
He's a 40-year-old man going
He's playing right now.
He's going to... He's a 40-year-old... Click on him. Does he not?
I did.
Oh, normally should... Click on the name, maybe.
I did about that, too.
Select. You have to...
That seems a little sad.
That's... Okay, good. He's a child.
How old? That sounded so dictatorial.
Is he too old to be playing? He's too old to be playing. Up the chimney, kid.
Crammed the kids one by one up the chimney.
The point is, so we were demonstrating something. I thought.
Okay, so where you're saying keep,
because the medical centers are as big as the houses, so I would leave
maybe one.
Well,
one right
the medical
there.
centers are small. They can only the first medical centers you can build can only house like 5 people.
Okay.
So, well, I got
They
by.
can keep it right there.
Well, no, I actually did get by building a full ring of houses because eventually refugees will come from other places. But for a long while, the first ring of houses which will house everyone is all you need. So you can get by, and I think it's probably not a bad idea if you can do it. Let's just go ahead and do it. We're not going to be playing this game long enough to get to all of the late game stuff, so
You won't see everybody die.
you won't see everyone die later because the medical facility froze over.
It'll be a cold day in
but the
hell
point is-
before. Okay.
It's cold. But
Oh,
the point is you were, as a child, you could give them small bits of responsibility and things that they could handle, and then there came an age, usually it was around 13 or so, back where it was like, you're gonna now be you're gonna help.
Yeah.
It's not just you're gonna be doing menial work
Right.
that's service. It's like, no, you're probably gonna you're gonna go out into the fields, you're gonna be doing hard stuff, and that's necessary. And that was your transition from boy to man. It was no, well, now you're in the awkward teen years, so we're not going to treat you like a... That's the problem, is no one knows what to do with that classification.
Well, the broader...
People expect...
Yeah.
It's like you either... There's the only two options, is you either treat them like kids but expect adult results,
The larger...
or you treat them like
societal
adults and
commentary-
expect childlike results.
Right. Well, I mean...
And neither of those ends up... I mean, one, I suppose you could argue, is worse. I think it's probably... well, actually, no. I don't think either is worse. I think they're both terrible in unique ways.
But I do think the larger societal commentary is that you see in many cultures, especially those in antiquity, that they had moments of like, hey, I'm passing this kind of baton or
how many
theoretical
houses have we built? Or tents, rather? Did we? We need 8. 1, 2, 3, 4.
3.
I think we might have built too many. 1, 2,
6,
3,
7,
4.
8.
No, those aren't
We have
tents.
quite a few.
No, those aren't. That
This
thing in the
one's
middle.
not.
No, next to it. That's not tent. That's
Correct,
storage.
But I'm saying 1,
2,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's one behind here.
7, 8, 9. We have too many.
Well,
We only have 80
have
people.
extra.
No, we only have 80 people we need a house, and I would put a medical center there if we can.
well, can we just...
You can demolish it and once you'll get some resources back, so it's not a net loss.
Well, can I... Okay.
Yeah, you just click on it. Where is it? Where's the? I think it's the X, the little X thing over here. Yeah. Dismantle for 8 wood.
Can I... Okay.
So you do that. See, still, even though you did that, no one's homeless. So you didn't just boot people out
Okay,
into the street. So I would then say, can you build a medical center? Oh, we don't have a cookhouse yet. We just got loads of raw food everywhere.
But should we get the...
Well,
medical
no, do the food first because that's actually part of the tutorial mission, so that won't go away until you
So
do that.
cookhouse and put that inside or no?
Inside, not inside the ring, because of the fact that it's a cookhouse, it produces its own heat. I'd put it next to the hunting cabin. It makes the
Which
most
is
sense.
right there.
There's no streets. Put it on the other side. There you go. So, anyways, the point is responsibility is a necessary
this
thing.
is still here. It's
That's the dismantling
they're
process.
just being demolished. Okay.
It's not like The Sims where it just goes away. Anyways,
So yeah, I mean, I think
get the kids to work is what we're saying. Whatever way you get those kids to work is okay by me.
What I was saying was the larger societal commentary is that you do present this, hey, I'm passing now the torch to you, and it's because I think we were better off for it as a society because there was less time as a child that you were just vulnerable and useless.
Well, because it's true. If you don't train them up, even there comes the problem is it's naive to assume life won't throw kids problems until they're 18.
Correct.
Life will start throwing kids problems really around the time. I mean, you could make the argument that like the 10 to 12 range is when, especially because that's generally when kids, and at least in the modern day, when they're in middle school, which is when the societal forces start taking over a lot more. We're going. They start having to deal with more abstract things like peer pressure and stuff like that.
And they're not even ready to deal with those things until later, you know.
But you could argue that life starts throwing things at kids even when they're like, 5. That's when you got to
collecting wood again.
Oh, that's because we did. We're not collecting steel either. Wood and steel are both gone.
Oh, okay.
Get wood and steel. That's steel. Get as many people on it as you can. And then where's some wood? That's coal, it looks like. We need wood. I need wood. Da, 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 da. It burns good. Da, 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 da. Except we're not actually burning the wood, so I guess that reference didn't make any sense. Woo.
So, but yes, I do. I think to that point,
because there's a reason why in a lot of cultures the
people from
the younger so basically this is somewhat plot related. There were people with the initial group that left our city.
Okay.
Some of not everyone made it, so some people are basically saying, hey, we could send people back to go get them. The building that now has red on it, I think that's the cooking place we just built. It needs people.
Should we put like 5 there?
Put some children in it. That's one of the safe places. Putting our money where our kids are.
No, engineers.
Putting our kids where our mouth are. That sounds far worse.
It does sound far worse.
I was meaning like putting your money where your mouth is, but in this case, the only resource we have is children.
Should we put 1 kid in there and then 1 kid in the...
I don't think the kids can hunt. I don't think that's considered a safe job.
So
click on it. Maybe they can. Hunting's a good... No, it's only hunters. Here's the totalitarian in me says put as many kids in the cookhouse as you can and get the actual adults for other things.
Well, that's probably true.
I mean, you don't want a cookhouse run by exclusively kids.
What's for dinner?
Cheerios! There you go. 2 adults.
So this is what I was saying.
Oh, and 12 available children. Let's abide by daddy daycare rules. What was it? I think 5 children for every 1 adult.
Yeah,
that's still too few.
I can only do 5 and 5.
Oh, well, then there you go.
So what I was saying though is it bothers me.
It's a buddy system. Every adult's got a kid.
It bothers me. Well, there's 1 kid loose, but that's okay.
He's the food.
No.
Yes, Isaac. We brought the sacrifice.
Wow. I thought you were going Donner Party for a second, but okay.
Oh boy.
No, I think it is sad and it bothers me a great deal when people act like kids cannot process nor do they never face real life issues. I'm like, okay, you're not only discounting their own capability but also discounting their experiences.
You're also very
ignorant.
Yes. But you're quite deluded about how the world works.
Right. I mean, it's like if you think that even if you're attempting to raise your kid that way, like somehow you're going to shelter them from everything bad. First of all, you're an idiot in that regard. Perfect,
because this is a transition.
But second of all, not because it's an idiotic thing to assume or to try, but it's stupid to assume that you can capably do that on your own. Yes. It's not. It's very better to prepare.
So here's my point. This is where the nuance comes in. We already signed. We already
got the children.
We've already got the children able to work safe jobs. That now says we could get them to do all jobs.
No.
And you don't have to choose it.
No, I'm not.
You could say, you know what, the safe jobs is where we're going to leave it because
that makes the most sense.
Yes.
Because then it
so
gets
it's not
them
just like, get
the
the kids in the chimneys. It's like you can have them. You can be sensible.
You can get those kids in the chimneys. Fine by me.
I like kids doing all kinds of work. I like kids working everywhere.
No, but seriously, kids are, and I realized this when I was working with youth.
You thinking quoting Mrs. Doubtfire, where it's you don't have to talk down to them, you just talk to them.
Yes, Mrs.
Doubtfire is a great film.
It is a great film, but I think it illustrates this very well, which is that students, especially as I worked with them in the past, are far more capable. And
and you're talking about youth students; they're just small adults,
right?
Let's be real; they have the capabilities to face everything, and often do.
Exactly. And when you act like they don't, that actually will lower their capabilities rather than actually raising your standards so that they rise to the occasion.
I believe it's a quote from C.S. Lewis, which says, "Well, I could either disrupt the flow to find it exactly, or give a half-hearted attempt.
Go ahead and just give us a number.
Well, I believe it's something along the lines that says children will inevitably face difficulties in life, therefore let them at least have heard of knights and heroic courage.
Yes.
We were going, you have to let them... Stuff's going to happen. It's not, we're not trying to revive... What is it about 11-bit studios that gets the depressing topics out of us? But we're not trying to be like, oh yeah, your kids... Did you just build a...
medical facility?
Oh, I thought that was another house. I was like, we just destroyed a house. We're not trying to be depressing like, kids can die too. You should get them prepared because it's coming.
Well, but death is coming to us all.
Well, I agree, but I'm not sure you'd start your 5-year-olds with that. I mean, build them up to be able to handle that.
Sure, but it has to be within their what is it called?
Yes, but the point is there's going to be stuff even on minor levels that you go, yeah, they're going to have to deal with things that are hard. So at least let them know that hard things can be dealt with.
Resource shortage. Where?
We're getting noses. Well, what does it say? Our needs are greatly growing by the hour.
To address this...
Extended shift. Now, this is another one that I think is more reasonable. If anything, they should have done this first. Because this is the more reasonable option, is instead of 24-hour shifts, we can just extend work hours.
Well, to 10 hours versus 8, I think that's wise.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like...
Especially in times where you go, sorry, this is not a leisurely stroll down, a city that you go, hey, I'm...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like that one should have come first, because it seems like it should have... Like the child labor thing, we're going, it starts more reasonable and then could get more dubious. We're going, I think it's not that unreasonable to say, hey, we're in a survival situation. Kids need to help where they can because we need all hands on deck. Similar thing with like, oh, we might have to ask you to pull some extra hours, but it's a little extreme to go, all right, you're not going home today. You're going to work tonight. All right, are we done soapboxing?
I think so. I've had my fair share.
You want a soapbox? Yeah, all right.
Yeah, all right.
You should read a very good book that I have sadly not yet read. So I'm going to recommend from ignorance. I believe that's a logical fallacy. But it was recommended to me by someone I would trust, which is called The World... I think it's called The World We Lost by a man named something Laslett. I forget what his first name is, but I believe the last name is Laslett. You got to staff the medical facility. But it's basically about what we've been talking about.
Children? No, I'm just kidding.
I thought the medical center was one you could, but maybe not till later.
You don't want children poking needles into people?
They could be folding bed sheets and taking out the dirty dipes. They're not squeamish.
Well, but dirty dipes is a very quick way of getting disease.
Dirty dipes is a dirty life. But
there's only 3 people sick now. Look at that.
Yay. And none of them are gravely sick. It's just the sniffles. Everyone will be fine. But it's basically about that, where you're talking, how it used to be farms were very communal, where you're going, mom and dad, the kids, everyone worked it together.
Yes. And
even back in the day, your farm was your work. You worked from home. Dad went out into the field. If the sons were old enough, they would join him. Mom would stay in the house. If the daughters were old enough, they would do things that were more complex. Smaller ones would do the minor things. And you might think, oh, how very non-progressive of you with your gender roles and nonsense. Forget that for a second. Let's think about it practically speaking. It's a better environment. If we're going to talk, since we're talking kids, it's a better environment for kids. Because both parents are at home. They're learning responsibility in a safe and controlled environment.
When they recognize that mom... See, okay.
Oh, boy.
This is really getting into some dangerous territory here. But,
Wario's got some good opinions on the matter.
Wario, no.
Get the kids in the chimney. Wow.
Warrior Poet Society made a video
That's even funnier. The Wario Poet Society
with his wife. That was talking about traditional family roles, and he literally said, as much as progressivism has pushed back on this, it works. And that's the bottom line.
I gotta pull up a quote.
Is if you get into the push comes to shove, I think women were far more valued when they were actually appreciated for their uniqueness in child rearing and all this other stuff. Now, not to discount any career woman, that's great. However, within the nuclear family, it is imperative to have that.
Imperative. I'm not saying that because I disagree. You were right about this going south for us. If we're not back next week,
It's because we were removed.
we might have been attacked.
We're in YouTube jail.
But I'm not going to be able to find it. This is my problem, is I save a bunch of quotes for use later and then can never find them in time when I need them. But I believe it was someone who made the good point of, sadly, I can only remember the tail end because it was a full, paragraph. But the final sentence was...
One gravely sick? Who's...
Ooh, we got our first gravely ill. Michael Knighton! Well, he serves him right. The Knightons can all die if you ask me.
He's got... What is it
Change
called?
his name. You can change his name.
He's got Michael...
Call him Michael Blighton.
No, he's
You can
got,
change his name. Change his name.
Why?
Change it. This is our dictatorial nature just barging his house. We're not, you're getting a new name today. No, Blighton. Or Plighton. Or maybe, if he keeps complaining, we'll start,
Just changed it back.
Why does it allow us to change it if it doesn't stay? Well, we're going to call him Michael Plighton.
What is it called? He's,
it's his
where
nickname.
you think you have everything.
You think you have everything?
It's a medical condition where you think you have everything.
Isn't it just
It's a hypochondriac.
Yeah. Call him Michael Plighton.
Remember that time we thought I had rickets? I was probably right about that, too.
I was going to give a quote, and we got talking about Michael and his whininess. Well, the quote, I don't remember the full paragraph, but the final sentence of it, which hits the hardest, is, it's not blind opposition to progress, but opposition to blind progress.
I don't think it... Sorry.
You just undermined...
I really want to hear it. I just am confused about this. You got to help me, because it's not...
You're not letting him change his name? Why do you care?
No, I'm saying these guys are sick.
They're sick.
Where's the deathly ill?
There's only one of them.
It's not any of these
it's not.
ones.
It's the one with the bigger health signal. It's Michael. He's the sickest.
But
Look,
says 4.
Hover over it. It said this person is gravely ill, on the brink of death. Ooh, okay.
A specialist in infirmity may still be able to do something. Okay, well, but
I don't think we have.
What else can I do?
I think we have to, later on. You can build better medical facilities. Because yeah. But I didn't realize he was on the brink of death. I feel a little bit more bad. Well, no, he is in medical care, but it could go either way. Is the point? What do we call him when he's dead, though? Michael Knighton.
It took me a second, way longer than I really wanted to admit. I literally gave him a blank stare for 3 seconds.
Oh, boy.
Okay, sorry. Continue with your very valuable quote.
The quote that I already said. Everyone else is ahead of you now because they heard it because they're good children who go up the chimney.
We're getting removed for sure.
But the quote was, the kicker of it was not blind opposition to progress, but opposition to blind progress. Which is this whole idea of going, we're just going to push and push and push because why not? It's the whole, I forget who said this, but this has become somewhat of a famous statement nowadays is, never tear down a fence until you know why it was built. You might say, oh, this fence is limiting, it's keeping us back.
Right.
We could move forward, we could expand, but it's like if you don't know what's behind there, you don't know why whoever built it. So you could tear it down and realize, oh, guess what? There was something we wanted to keep away.
Well, and the cries of progressivism would say
So it's not just progress, go. It's like, no, let's be smart and go, why do we have the traditions we have? Can some of them be changed?
Some people would argue it's patriarchal dictatorship,
it's like,
that's not at all true.
Can some traditions change? Sure, and maybe they should, but we shouldn't just go, well, it's a tradition, therefore it should change.
Well, and don't get me wrong, I am the type of man, I will push back and challenge any man that thinks that it's their job in their house to be the dictator and say what goes. I disagree with that even on a biblical level, and I'm gonna leave that there. But
thank you.
But my point is, more than just that, a good leader is a good influencer.
Good leading is about good leading.
No, A good leader is a good influencer.
When you got
And if
dictators
can't-
doing your leading, that's about the worst leading you can do.
If you are trying to do it with a heavy hand, I will tell you quickly, with your wife and your kids, you will lose influence and then
lose your kids,
lose your
wives.
lose your wife, and eventually lose yourself. So there you go.
Well, this hasn't been as dramatic. I think last time, I think I'm giving you too much help because last time some dramatic people died and it was a ordeal. Now we've been
chalking it up to yourself. I love that. You're just appropriating my success.
We stand here amid my achievement, not yours. Fine. I was just saying I offered some helpful criticism.
Finally build the freaking workshop.
There you go. This is where we can actually put our engineers to work because this will help us upgrade things. We can make the furnace better. We can
what I'm trying to do because the cold day is about to hit and it's going to be a bear.
And it is a beauty. We can upgrade because we're living in tents.
What other B words can we use that are close to? But
bear
not
beauty. But
it's a
here she is and what
battle.
What a bag hole. Anyways, my point was not who's. Let's not talk too much about who's kicking whose butt. My point was we're too competent at this. There was no drama in this episode.
I think Katya covered all that in the previous.
Katya took all the drama on herself. And she couldn't handle it.
It was the sacrificial lamb that never came back.
The sacrificial goat. Anywho's research. What's the research thing say? I think that's for the workshop we just built. Yeah, so this is a fun game. I played through it. Now, the one thing that disappointed me slightly...
Speed up time...
Yes, we already know about that. Although we haven't been doing it. We probably... If there was a slow down time option, that would have helped for us. Resources, yeah. We don't... Let's not tutorialize all this right now. The one thing that disappointed me is... And if you're familiar with this war of mine, you'll know similarities inbound. The game does have an ending that I think comes sooner than I would have liked. Ooh, no, we're even. Although going in, since the temperature's about to drop, we're going to want... Oh, actually, since the temperature did drop, we're going to want to get more people on coal if we have them. We can. Oh, dear.
I only have one person.
Oh, we can. I didn't realize the children could go on the coal pile. I thought we said safe jobs. I guess technically this is a coal pile that's not a mine, but that might be a slippery slope. I don't think that's going to go over well.
Yeah, I don't.
Put kids somewhere else the kids can go and then free up the adults to go pick up stuff.
So I literally would have to...
Well, okay, again, we don't want the cookhouse of children. Well, now, so what this really is a daycare. It's a glorified daycare. Someone's got a question. You at the back of the class. What he says is frostbite. Consider signing. This is another ethical question.
Medical treatment.
Should we finish with one ethical question because we're coming up to the hour mark? Basically, what do we do if
one of our people has become greatly related to frostbite?
What do we do with frostbite? Because
people have,
it's going to keep happening. So let's open the book of laws. We'll pontificate for the last couple minutes because it's what we do best. What are the options? Radical treatment versus sustaining life. So click on them and see.
What's radical treatment?
Radical treatment, I believe, is like somewhat experimental, potentially could backfire and just kill someone. What does it say?
Gravely ill will be treated in medical posts.
30% of the gravely ill will die. Oh no, 30% will be left as amputees.
Which makes them completely useless.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dictator. Thank you, Herr Kommissar.
Wow.
A one-armed Jew, twice as useless. I am quoting a film before anyone... It's also a good film. It's a culturally significant film. You should watch it. So don't come at me with that. It's in a film and that's an irony. If anything, I was levying that at you. You're the one saying that.
No, what I'm saying is on a practical level.
Well, it is true, and in fact...
But I guess living with one with only
Basically,
one less limb is living.
Well, this is essentially
still.
sustaining life. This is basically a hospice. They're going to be equally as useless because they're just going to stay in the.
Okay,
they're going to
so
stay
let's
in the
do,
hospital
I
till they
suppose,
die.
But what's the difference in survival rate is the only question. Because they eventually will die, correct? So survival rate
No,
is
not necessarily. It says at the bottom, the gravely ill will be treated, but they will remain a burden, and they will take up beds and medical posts.
So I would say the radical treatment's probably better.
Yeah, that's what I did the first time through.
Wait, what?
Oh, we can't do it yet. We have to wait an hour. I don't know why the time clock. I think it's because the game would end too quickly. Not end, but there would be no development. If you could just sign all the laws at once, and then I think that's more progressive. Well,
I need to pull some people from...
you need more children gathering coal?
I need...
The fact that you can do that, I thought, like, what... If it considers gathering coal and steel to be a safe job, why did we bother with the safe job? That doesn't seem safe to me. Oh, more problems. Someone's probably lost a limb. We were preparing you for the amputees, now here they come. Get the engineers, fill the workhouse with, not the workshop with engineers. You only got 2 in there, you might as well.
What?
Oh, researching stuff. That's, yeah, we're going to have to do this.
I know, but...
But we probably aren't, actually, because we're going to be almost at the end. See what the people want.
Where?
The big that. What is it? The big that. Child injured at work. Oh, dear. Oh, no. Okay, this is new. I didn't do this last time, so I didn't get this chance. What is it?
Shh. Scold the kid? Why would
A
you
child
do that?
got... Well, no, hang on. What does it say?
You have to give him the day off.
He got distracted. Well...
He got hurt. You don't scold him and say, don't get
What
distracted.
did he hurt himself on? He's in the cookhouse. I suppose knives and heat, probably. Okay, so we'll take... That was our bad. We'll own that one. We can't sign any more laws. Can we?
Well, I was wondering whether
Has the hour passed?
Gone by.
Nope. Wait, less than an hour now. You can see the hour pass. It'll turn blue. The little...
Seemed a little...
It's the little thing, the little countdown.
wheel
It'll go away. It's almost gone. Well... I suppose what we traded in the drama of the first playthrough, we got back in some weirdly deep topics. I don't know, this was sort of related. We're on a bit of a kick, apparently, because we started on this last time, talking about, in the last Batman video, talking about self-reliance and the ills that come with modern living. Well, this is what you get, though. This is what's coming. This is our antidote to modern living is Ice Age and living around a furnace. Doesn't the future seem grand?
But see, this is actually an argument that people make now. I just hope that it's the house argument. I go, well, at least you're... There you go.
Yeah.
At least they're saving your life. You Gregory, you.
You whining animal, you. Do you have an uplifting note to end on? We're groping for an ending, and I don't think we want to end it quite so depressingly. No one's dead, at least, yet. It would be funny if it popped up right now. Someone's died.
No one's dead.
I probably wouldn't. That would just be our ending. If that happened, it was like, well, no one's dead. Bleep, first death. We wouldn't even comment. I would just cut it off there.
But no one's died, so there you go.
Well, what do you... Is that your statement?
No one's died? Is that your statement?
Give us a joke or a thing we can...
I made it into a fold-out brochure. Folds out.
I will leave that in, if only because I have to.